What is good, guys? Welcome back to Behind the Dugouts for your match preview of Chelsea versus Brentford. Yes, the Premier League is back. Now, in this video, we're going to take a look at the starting 11, what I think Maresca will go with, give you my score predictions, and sprinkle a little bit about Brentford. What could we expect from the opposition team? Now, this is the start of what is going to be a tough run for Chelsea. We've got quite a few big games coming up: Bayern Munich, Man United, Liverpool, all in this sort of short space of time, and a lot of away games as well. So, this is going to be a tough period for us, definitely a lot tougher than the three fixtures before the international break. Now, Brentford. I have to give props to Brentford first. Look, they are a team that since been promoted, they've done pretty well every single season and have exceeded expectations every single season. They were very well structured. They had a great attacking team, a great defensive setup as well, and tactically they were spot on against even the biggest teams in the league and always gave any team a real problem. And it's been like that for years now. However, it has changed, at least from my perspective. They've lost a lot over the last few seasons. One of the biggest losses for them was Ivan Toney a few seasons back, and we were all discussing, how they're going to cope. They've lost their talisman, 20 plus goals a season striker. How are they going to cope? They then, had the likes of Mbeumo and Visser who took the mantle and took them on, had a great spine in the midfield. And defensively, as I said, they were always resolute, always tough to break down. And they just seemed to, carry on even after the loss of Ivan Toney. However, this transfer window, they have lost an incredible amount. And one thing in particular, which I think is vital to how Brentford, work, how they play, has gone. So for me, Brentford are not the same team as they were last season or the season before. They've lost Visser and Embuemo. They've lost Norgard in the midfield. And the biggest factor is they have lost Thomas Frank. This is basically a completely new side, a completely different Brentford that we're going to come up against. So, do I think they pose as much threat or could be as much of a problem as they have been in previous years? No, I don't think so. I think you can lose a few players here and there, and your manager can still, bring in a player and try and fit the structure around that player to make everything keep ticking. However, to lose all your good players pretty much and lose the manager that's making these tactical decisions, that's making the players tick and getting them to play in a certain way to, come up and play against these big teams, go toe to toe with them. To lose all of that in the same window, I do find it highly unlikely that Brentford are going to be able to maintain the form that they've had over the last few seasons. So for that reason, I do think this is going to be a completely different Brentford side, and I don't think they're going to pose as much problems attackingly as they have done in the past. Defensively, they're still quite sure. They've still got pretty much the same back line, so they're going to still be tough to break down. But again, it's the tactical approach that's going to come that I think is going to be a big change. Now, Chelsea, we've got injuries. We've spoken about it over the last few days. So there are players still missing. Cole Palmer still out, or a fitness assessment is going to be done after training on Friday afternoon. But I'm expecting him not to be available for this game, even if he passes the fitness and he is fit. I think they're going to rest him for one more game. We know Liam Delap's out still. Darius Sugo's picked up an injury over the international break. He's going to be out for 10 plus weeks. So there are some injuries, and also we've had an international break. So these players that could have had a rest have gone away with their international team and have played more football and have continued playing football. So I'm expecting Maresca to go with quite a heavily rotated team with the injuries as well, with players going on international duty. So now that I've said that, let's get into what I think the starting lineup's going to be. Right, short, simple, keep it sweet. We know who's going in goal. It is going to be Sanchez. I don't expect Jorgensen to play any league games unless Sanchez is injured. So he is going to be the number one all the time. And to be fair to him, he's not made any critical errors since the start of the season. Again, it's only been a few games in, and his distribution is looking a little bit better now that he doesn't have to go short all the time and he can go long into the striker. I think that's taken a little bit of pressure on him, and hopefully we'll see less or none of any mistakes for him going forward. In the right back role, I don't think Reece James is going to start this one. He hasn't started the previous two, but he has come on in these games. But he's also gone on international duty and played both games on international duty. So for that reason, I believe Maresca will go with Malo Gusto again at right back. And Gusto has done better this season than he did last season. He played pretty well in the Club World Cup and he's maintained that form. Now that he's not having to invert and play in the midfield role and expecting to sort of dictate in the midfield, he's playing a more conventional sort of right back role, which he's more comfortable with, and we get the best out of him. He is looking better, so I have to give him props to that. He is definitely improved. So yes, I think with the way that we've managed Reece James, I don't think he's going to get the start, being that he's played both games on international duties, but I do expect him to come on the pitch at some point in the game. Centre back role, I don't see any point in changing this here. It's got to be Tosin and Chalobah again. They are building a type of connection together now that they're playing more and more football with each other, which is, as expected. The more you play together, the more understanding you're going to have between each other and the better your game will be. And for me, they are the best pair that we have that are fit and are ready to play. And Chalobah has just been he's just been solid, and he always have been. He doesn't really put a foot wrong at any point. So I'm happy with this pairing. I think it is solid enough. Left back, this is where I think Maresca will make his first change. And I think it is going to be Jorrel Hatto. Reason being is we've got to give Cucurella a break. We have to give him a break. He's been playing non-stop football. He's played for Spain. This is the reason we've brought Hatto in, to play back up to Cucurella. Now, I've given you my thoughts on Brentford. I don't think they're going to be as strong as they have been in previous seasons. So I think this is a good time to get Hatto in, get him playing some more minutes, give Cucurella that much deserved rest and have him ready for the Champions League game against Bayern Munich in the midweek. So for me, Hatto, and I think Maresca will go with Hatto for this one. Midfield pivot. Another interesting one. This is where I think there'll be some changes. Now, obviously, Dario Sugo's injured, so he's not going to be up for selection. And we've had the South American boys go on, international duty all over the world. And Caicedo did have a tiny scare while away. He missed the first game due to potential injury, but did play in the second one. But he's another player that I think needs to be rested because we're going to burn him out very quickly. So for me, the pivot should be Santos alongside, I'm going to go with Enzo Fernandez here. Now, of course, Enzo Fernandez is also a player that's been playing non-stop and has gone on international duty as well. But I just feel that Caicedo's played more football. So I think if we can at least rest one of these, and Caicedo's a player that we don't generally rest at all, I would go with Andre Santos and Enzo, and this is what I think Maresca will go with for this fixture. Andre Santos has done well when he's come in, and he's done what he's needed to do, and I think he will be good enough to fill that. We've also got Romeo Lavia, who's returned back from injury. I think this will be too soon for him. We're probably going to see him maybe in the Lincoln City game that's coming up in a few weeks. I don't even think he'll be on the bench for the Champions League game, but there is Romeo Lavia back now to aid in the midfield to hopefully give Caicedo some more rest. But again, we want him for the Champions League midweek. Moving into the front line, as I mentioned, Cole Palmer is not available. He's got a fitness test on Friday afternoon after training to see if he would be available for selection, but I don't think we're going to see him for this fixture. He's definitely not going to start, and if anything, I think if he is going to be part of the squad, it will be a substitute appearance, and it will be last resort. If we're winning the game comfortably, they probably won't even bother picking him. So for me, and I did a match preview and a sort of team selection with the Stanford Sync over on his channel, and I completely forgot about this player, to be honest. And it has come out, and Maresca's come out and said that Buonanotte is going to be the backup to Cole Palmer for this current season. João Pedro has played in the 10 and he's done really well in the 10, but we've got no Liam Delap now, so no one is going to, can play that striker role. We brought Mark Yu back, but not expecting Mark Yu to come straight into the squad and play that role for João Pedro to be in the 10. So for me, I think Maresca might go with Buonanotte. Now, I have done a match preview and a team selection with Matt over on the Stanford Sync, and I have to admit, I completely forgot about Buonanotte being available, and Maresca had come out and said, Buonanotte is the backup for Cole Palmer. So I do feel like if Cole Palmer's not going to be available, and to save pulling other people out of position. I don't think Esteval is going to start this game. Again, he's an 18-year-old young kid. He started Fulham, he started West Ham, he's gone on international duty and played games there. So he's going to need a rest, and I think Maresca will rest him for this fixture. So it is a good time probably to use Buonanotte in the 10 role to give those other players a rest. On the right wing, I think he will go with Pedro Neto. And yes, he is also another one of those players that hasn't really had much of a break, but he has been our most outstanding winger for quite a long period of time, especially during the Club World Cup. He's taken on the season, and I'm expecting Neto to be one of these players that are going to push this team, these youngsters on for this next season. I am expecting quite a lot from Neto this season, and so far he's doing well. He is doing well, and I think he's going to maintain his place in the starting 11 this week. Left hand side. So this is a tough one. Obviously, Jamie Gittins is coming in to play that left hand side role. He has flattered to deceive at the minute, but of course, it's new. He's adapting. He's getting used to the league, the physicalness, the quickness of it. And it might take some players time. And I think this will be the case for Jamie Gittins. Now, we have just brought in Alejandro Garnacho from Man United. He's had a few weeks to train now with Maresca, get the ideas, get the system down. But he's also a player that has played over 100 games in the Premier League. So he's used to the physicalness, he's used to the quickness. It's just a matter of getting him used to the system and, getting to know the players around him. So for me, I think Maresca is going to go with Garnacho in this fixture. I think it would be a good opportunity to see what he can do. And as I said, Jamie Gittins is still adapting, and Maresca probably feels that Garnacho is less likely needing that adaptive period because he's played in the league before and he knows what to expect from coming up against a team like Brentford. So that's why I think Maresca will go with Garnacho on the left-hand side for this game. But I do think Jamie Gittins will come on later. Up top, it's got to be João Pedro. It has to be. Only sort of striker, and then even if he was the only striker, he is still the best striker that we've got. I put him above Liam Delap. Of course, I put him above Mark Gue. He's banging in the goals. He's continuing to score goals. He's looking sharp. He's looking like he's that guy. He is looking like he's going to carry us to the promised land. He's going to bag loads of goals this season. So for me, he's got to be our starting number 9. And this is what I think Maresca will go with against Brentford. Let me know your thoughts on this. Is there any player that you think should be in the starting lineup instead? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Right, score prediction time. How do I feel this is going to go? What do I think the outcome is going to be? I think Chelsea are going to come away with 3 points. I think we are going to beat Brentford. Now, Brentford, I think, will play a low block. I think they are going to, and as the game goes on, it's going to get lower and lower, and they're going to try and play as tight as possible to stop us from creating chances. But I do think we are going to create. I think we're going to win the game 2-0. I think João Pedro is going to score again and maintain his goal scoring form. And I've got a little feeling that Garnacho is going to score in this game too. But drop your comments below. What do you think the score is going to be for this game? But for now, guys, that is all from me. If you're enjoying the content, please smash the likes. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. Join me on this journey. But for now, take care of yourselves, and I will catch you in the next one.